I'd like to start by asking us to observe 1 minute of silence of my late father, Sanni.
Will be upstanding.
Yeah, please, yeah, stand up, everybody. Yes. Switch off your phones, please, so we can observe a good minute. May his soul continue to rest in peace. Amen. All right, first off, let me say a big thank you to every one of you for taking out the time to be with us tonight. We truly appreciate your presence and your support in all ways. Thank you very much. I hope you guys have enjoyed and continue to enjoy our assortment of food and drink so far. I've always considered it important for those that are blessed to give back. And for a while now, I've been trying to figure out a way to do this. There's a whole world of people out there in desperate need of help, and nowhere more so than our beloved homeland of Nigeria. Whenever I go back home, particularly when I visited with my dad in my hometown of Imodi-Moson, one thing that always struck me was the sheer level of poverty and hopelessness. Each time I would discuss this with my dad, who spent his entire life in the service of and giving to others. And I asked Dad, how can we help these people? Finally, one day he said to me, okay, just do the best you can. And then he said in Yoruba, which means that we can't do anything again. It is left to you, the next generation. So before I left him, in 2018, I visited him. That was the last day I saw him alive. November 17, 2018. I went to the village with him, and I walked around the village, visited some primary schools, the 2 primary schools there, and I saw a level of decay that was just overwhelming. I mean, I know how blessed I've been first of all, to be in America, you're blessed. I mean, to just be a diaspora. And then to be successful in America is a double blessing. And you see what you have and how you pop a bottle of champagne with the kind of money that can change somebody's life. And you realize how blessed you are. So I made some promises to him that day. And I said something to the effect that, I had a vision to start a foundation, and that I wanted to tap into my network of friends and business associates and colleagues, and that see what we could do, and I'll commit a certain amount of the money that I make to this endeavor and start in Emoji and help the village. He was very excited, extremely excited. And that night, that was the last time I saw him, we chatted till 2 a.m. And then I went to sleep. I couldn't sleep because there were insects that had got into my mom's bedroom where I slept. So I woke up at 5. He woke up a few minutes later to pray, so we started gisting again. I had to be in Ibadan by noon that day. He didn't want to let me go. He kept holding me down and talking, but I eventually, because I had to stop to see my grandmother in Ijebu. Anyway, so that morning when I was leaving, he said, for the things that you said to me on this trip, if I died today, I would die a happy man. And that, I had no idea when I was going to die, but that's the last day I saw him. So I left. And ironically, the last 1 year has been pretty tumultuous for me business-wise. And so I kept delaying and deferring the promise. It's still tumultuous anyway. The week before he died, we would chat every like 3 or 4 times a week, you know. And so one day he said, the last time I called him, he said, I want to go to the village and spend a week. I haven't been there in a while because he was feeling better. And what you tell me, you got to promise someone, you know. Let me start doing my money. I said, don't worry, let me save a few units, I'll be all right, you know. And then the last thing he said to me on that call was, a promise is a debt. You must fulfill the promises that you've made. And I told him, I assured him, I said, don't worry, it will be done. So that was that. Anyway, the idea of the foundation was first birthed in 2017, and I created a Facebook page, and I didn't do anything. There was a young man in Nigeria doing a lot of stuff. He has a foundation called the Cocoon Foundation. Every day he will go into the Ojuele bar, distribute fresh rice, hot rice and stew, money, cash. You see somebody doing boli, and you just pay for the whole boli there. Yeah. You know, I mean, he was treating myself. I'm very impressed. And you know, but I didn't register the foundation until December 2018, and I got the IRS 501(c)(3) status. That was after that trip to Nigeria. So I had the idea for the foundation. The primary goal of the foundation is really poverty alleviation in Nigeria through the funding of education, healthcare, and public services. By education, we mean, you know, providing or facilitating a good learning environment for kids. You know, we have kids that learn in environments where they have no desks and no chairs. They sit on the floor basically. When it rains, the water comes through. The roofs are not there, so the rain pours, and you know, the papers get wet and all that stuff. The kids go to school. There's no food at lunchtime. They probably didn't even eat breakfast at home. These are 7, 8, 9-year-olds. Things that in America we take for granted. By public services, so by education I also mean scholarships, people that want to go to university. So if there's a poor kid somewhere, my interest is in STEM because that's my background. If there's somebody that has an interest and is very smart and wants to do STEM, or even anything for that matter, be able to sponsor. I was speaking to a guy who, we know a couple, they are Telecon's friends. They're doctors, husband and wife. They went to Mayflower School in Kenya. They abandoned medicine and just dedicated their entire life to the service of humanity. That's all they do. So, you know, they have a lot of fantastic programs. So, I mean, I was speaking to the gentleman who was saying 80,000 on this school fees for university in a year. If you want to do accommodation on top and some other things, maybe 150. You know. Yet, I paid $70,000 a year for one child to go to school in America. To get, so you know, imagine how many people that 70,000 can send to school. So I mean, so we're blessed, you know. So by education, that's what I mean: scholarships, helping kids, primary school. To send this kid to primary school for 1 year is 40,000 naira. Secondary school somewhere in between. These amounts are the kind of amounts you go out on a night and just spend, or we take for granted. And and I find out from my experience, and one of the things that pushed this was when my father died. I mean, I like to give. I like to think I'm a very generous person, but I haven't really had the chance to be on the receiving end a lot of times. When my father died, I had people that reached out to me and just spoiled me with money. You know, I've never seen that kind of thing before in my life. I mean, people gave me close to $20,000. You know, and I was just overwhelmed. And I was like, wow. So Nigerians have the heart for giving. Sometimes they need a vessel, they need a route to give them money. So I think that's part of what kind of accelerated this. And so we can do this. If people can give for burial, then they certainly will give for something else, which is a better cause. So that's education, scholarships and stuff. By public services, we mean that clean drinking water, things that we take for granted. I open my tap, there's water flowing, you know. This morning we woke up and we couldn't have our showers because my pilot light in the basement is messing up. So sometimes we wake up, the pilot is off, but my plumber showed me how to do it. Things that we take for granted, hot water is coming out within an hour. So we plan to install boreholes all over, in the primary school so the kids can have drinking water. The kids that still use the pit latrine till today. But the toilets have no roof. Not that the roofs are leaking, there is no roof. The cafeteria is a little open shed. Kids, 6-year-olds, 7-year-olds. And these are things, stories that have touched me. So cleaning, and then healthcare. I went to medical school for 4 years, so I have a generation of friends that are doctors, and I've reached out to some of them. Some have actually promised me already that just give me 1 year's notice, I'll go with Nigeria on a health fair with you. 1 week free of charge. We'll go to wherever you want to go. By the time people were telling me this, I hadn't even thought that far. But people were saying, look, I'm a pediatrician here. I'll give you 1 week of my time as long as you give me 12 months notice. We'll go to Nigeria, we'll do whatever it is that we can, whether it's vaccination. So I guess with time, some of this vision needs to be fleshed out. It's not completely clear now, but so that's part of what we're thinking about. For me, I have chosen to begin at home, which is Imodi Moson. Imodi Moson, actually I'm from Imodi, even though my father is from Imoson. They immigrated, they ran from Imoson for whatever reason. But it's two different towns, they call them together. But that's the land of my forebears. Because as the saying goes, they say charity begins at home, so where better to begin? And also because I promised my dad. So from here, the plan is to extend this, whatever we do, to surrounding rural areas and grow accordingly. Thank you all. Just for even answering the clarion call, for even responding to my messages, for sending the $75 each, for sending the extra on top. As of right now, we have raised almost $18,000. So please, I'd like to. My initial goal was 15. So I have been overwhelmed by the love, the support, the desire. It's like, So right now, I have decided to be an Oliver Twist and set a new target at $25,000. But Tola and I are pledging to match every dollar that you give. And we're going to do that. And that is for 2019. So for 2019, whatever we collect, will match 100%. And in future years, our commitment is to give at least between 5 and 10% of our net income from our real estate ventures, and to the foundation. And so that's all. So we're hoping that, considering that your dollars will count for double, that you reach into your pockets and give us more. So we're also looking for willing and able partners to help us craft out an effective, clear, and concise vision, and to help us in executing it. So we're looking from this group. So basically what I've done is I've called pretty much my friends, Nigerians, my friends. One, because obviously I have people that are reaching out to me, I heard they're doing something, and I was like, this is for inner corpus people. Because the foundation hasn't done anything. So you really shouldn't go to the public and ask for anything, because you haven't done anything. So my friends will trust my vision and maybe give me. In 6 months, we're hoping that we will have executed and spent the money that we got here and the commitment that Tola and I are putting down tonight. And Memorial Day 2020, we would like to have a more formal event, a black tie gala, to actually continue to raise more money and to report on what we've done for the last 6 months as well. And at that time, I would want to tap into my networks of business relationships, associates, and one of the things that kind of helped me was, I think it was a year ago, when I did, I like to exercise, so I ride my bikes. I would do 20 miles and all that. And my brother would come from Nigeria. He's an avid rider. He rides with Psychology, a group in Nigeria. So it was with him that I rode my first 30 miles. And after that, I decided to join this 108-mile ride from here to Delaware. I had never done it before. I said, well, I want to share my doing it. So I joined I started training for the ride, and eventually, but the ride was to raise money for autism. So I tapped into my network of friends, and for autism, just for doing that ride, I raised $6,000.
Wow.
And I was so impressed, and I had business associates that called me and said, if you're going to do this kind of thing, call me, Yopi. I will donate all day, every day. I mean, my insurance companies, my agents, all, So anyway, so that was an encouragement. I knew that this was possible. So, but for now, I've called my friends, and I hope that, at least you guys already, even if you don't give me anything tonight, we have enough to, if I double what I've raised, that's 35,000, 36 easy. That's enough. That's over 10 million in Nigeria. That would move mountains right now. My younger brother tweeted on the family chat and said that, Ross, they're going to name the village after you. I said, bring, how much did you say?
Only bring 100 million.
It's for us to get started. There's so much to say. So we hope that I will talk to all of you as time goes. I'm looking for 5 members, 5 people from here to serve on the initial tenure. And I think the IRS requires that because right now, Tola and I are the only people on the account on the company. They require at least non-family members. So I'm looking for 7 people on the board, 5 people that would be ready to give, people that have ideas. We're ready to talk to my wife. She's a CFO of an NGO, a non-profit in the US, and she's talking to our boss who is actually advising her on ideas on how to raise money, how to tap into the network and all that. So we got some really interesting plans. So that's that. But I say a big thank you for all that you guys have given already. And it's ironic that this happened just a week before Thanksgiving. This time next week, my family and I will be in Dallas, and we'll all be, wherever you are, you'll be telling the stories of what you're thankful for. I know that everybody, just by the virtue of being here, you have a lot to be thankful for, just for being alive,
Correct.
for having this wonderful life, so, but we must remember those in need as we enjoy our lives and be grateful for how blessed we all are. I, for one, I have so much to be thankful for, and I would hope that I can continue to do more to show that gratitude to God and to the world. So I have a brief video, and well, it's a slide, it's a PowerPoint slide that Tola put together. Videos and pictures, and it just kind of talks about some of the initiatives that we're trying to get started on in Emoji. It's all pictures that I took them in 2018 when I went to visit them, So so there are 2 schools really that we're focusing on. I'm not sure if we'll do renovation projects. If the need comes, we'll do it. But for these schools, because in my village, I actually got a quote from one of the schools about $2 million to re-roof the entire school's roof, plaster the walls, paint the walls, do the ceiling for $5,000. Yeah. So luckily for us, the governor of Ogun State, is going around the villages in Ogun State, and he's choosing one school, one primary school. So he already chose the other school, and they've already done it. So we're down to 1 school to do. So we'd like to do that project starting in December. There's a lot of classrooms in this school that don't have desks, don't have chairs. Kids sit on the floor. I guess a lot of the schools, the parents don't care. They don't care. The parents are barely making ends meet. And they just don't believe in education like we, my father was a very humble man. So even though, he got lucky, maybe a smart kid from Imoti, did well and then went to teacher training college and made it into England and did law. And then he came back in '63 but throughout his life, he hung out with the people that he went to primary school with, and they were all stark illiterate. They were his best friends. The last one of them died in his house. Every morning, my dad would send his driver, they'll pick him up at 7, and they'll drop him off at 10. Every night, we'll do 15 hours with my dad, they would gist. So we never used to understand, because they'd take us to somebody's house in Bariga, to do like the monthly meeting, but that's who he was. But it also kind of made you realize how education is such a big divider, how it can change the course of the trajectory. And you can imagine some of those people's children have found it very hard to also do well. They're probably doing better than their parents, but they're just nowhere near where we are. So it makes you realize what education was. And so those parents they have too much on their minds to worry whether the kids eat or go to school or have tests in school. So it's a very needy environment. So anyway, this is the main building of the school. One of the two primary schools. That roof as it is been there, I don't know how long. When it rains, the water just comes all through. So one of the things that we're trying to do is to remove, actually want to take out all the wood of frame and put new iron sheets on top and then replace the ceiling inside. So, next one. So again, another picture of exterior parts of the school. You can see that it's mud. It's Biliamon, all mud school, all plaster. So next. So this is the video that is just a long video that just shows. This is the environment where the kids kind of hang out. So right here, this is the toilet.
This where?
This is the toilet.
Shalanga. They call it what it is, man.
So there's a door. So it's a building. So this is no roof. And this is very typical. Very, very typical. My hope is that we can do some plumbing for them. Cover the roof. Ladies have to use this place. Girls have to use it. So we can even knock it down and do fresh block. It doesn't cost a lot. So we can grill our wood. Yeah, so this is the cafeteria. I need to know. This is the 700 pupils in this school. No, you just take your food and you sit down. Just like that. Yeah. Water. Every day. This is no.
Fully functional.
700 students. Every day. Every day. So this is the hall. This is the main hallway. Yeah. So this is real. And I can tell you that if you went away from Lagos, Ondo, Benin, it's worse than this. These are areas that are close to Lagos. Do you understand what I'm saying? So this is the video of the, it was a rainy day, because I was trying to get them to get me videos of when it's raining, what happens. You know, primary school is primary school. Next. So this is a classroom. This is a typical classroom. No desk, no chair. The floor is in level. Yeah. On the floor. On the floor. I don't even.
Where is the blackboard?
Blackboard is not in view.
In view, okay.
So this is the classroom on a rainy day. I got them to get me videos on a rainy day about 2 weeks ago. So see all the books. You're going to see the teacher's books get wet. Okay, this one has tables and chairs. So that's the teacher's day. We're going to power wet. But guess what? It's not only, you were still telling me one story now. Secondary school in Lagos. In Maryland.
That's a black.
No desk, no chair.
When that guy that was using stone on the mouth. With the mouth.
Computer mouse. Oh yeah, I saw that.
The library.
Yeah, I saw that.
Why is it under lock and key?
So, well,
That's right.
for me and for immediate, for this school and the other school, is to at least provide the minimum learning environment. Whether they learn or not, at least let them come to a place where the sun doesn't beat them, and they don't have a skill. They're far from that. They're never going out there. But at least let the rain not beat them. Let them have a decent place to eat or to get the food served, and have a decent place to use the bathroom. So I mean, those projects we want to start on the 1st of December. I hired somebody in Lagos. When I went back to Nigeria about 10 years ago and I was running the business, it was my finance manager. So I already hired him, he accepted the job, and we're going to get things started. So that's that. So we'll do the repairs, and then for both schools, one of the first things we want to do the first week is to install borehole facilities for the schools. So at least, because the schools come to school, there's no water. It's water to clean. Yeah, so we drill a borehole there, put an overhead tank, get them a pumping machine, and they'll connect power from the school, and then they have a temporary generator, temporary power.
Does the school have a name?
Yes, so this.
Oh, sorry. I used to.
Yes. So there's two schools. One is St. Matthew's School, which belongs to the church. The second is a Muslim school, which belongs to the mosque. So St. Matthew's was where my father went. Yeah, from 1940.
So you went to Muslim school?
No, he went to St. Matthew's. Then me.
I can't see you now. What did they talk about?
So those are the two.
Which one are we taking on?
So no, we're taking both. But like I said, some of the repairs that we want to do. So basically, the government just chose one school. In Imoson, the sister village, they chose the Muslim school. In Imodi, they chose the Christian school. Yeah, so, but we're going to help both schools. Both schools are going to get balls. Both schools are going to get computers from us. Both schools are going to get tables and desks. And we're going to renovate both schools. But since the government has given them a brand new roof in St. Matthew's, but my dad was a Muslim. Even though he went to St. Matthew's, his heart was in the Muslim school. But we're going to do both. So that's that. But going forward, one of the things that I'm interested in is scholarship. like I said, when we think about the cost of education in America, which I think is a scam anyway, I'm sure you all have kids in college. You think you're paying $10,000 a year, and ask my child, like, is this all the cost of in for 35,000? And then you hear that for $500, you can send a kid for 1 year to school in Nigeria. So we're interested in university scholarships for the really smart, anybody that is smart and we can prove that they're unable to, and that's where you hear me? You hear me?
Yeah.
What does EI stand for? Encouragement Initiative. Okay. So EI is the organization that I said that these two doctors, Dr. and Mrs. Akinlesi, or Dr. and Dr. Mrs. Akinlesi, they do. So I've spoken to Dr. Akinlesi at length. So rather than us reinventing the wheel, my goal is to say that I have a pocket for 100 kids to go to university. Find me those 100. They have volunteers, so they will do all the groundwork, verify who needs and all that, and then bring them to me. Tola and I will sort through that. But our own goal is that we are not giving anybody money directly. You invest it, but I will send me a bill, and I will pay the bill, and I will get that invoice because I have exposure here. I have to do my proper taxing, 513C and all that. So our goal is to do scholarships for elementary school, secondary school, university. So that's one. The other thing that we're interested in is, like I said, making the environment at least conducive for them. So not only reroofing, doing desks and chairs, and then maybe doing some computers for some of the schools. So exposing the people that have the ability to get on the web and explore what's beyond that. I've spoken about boreholes, In terms of basic infrastructure, the easiest that we can provide is clean drinking water. For 350,000 naira, which is $1,000, we can install a borehole, an overhead tank by a pumping machine that will provide 500 people a day access to clean drinking water. I mean, that's like $2 per person. That's like nothing. So a lot of our efforts will be kind of focused on that. And then basic healthcare services, even if I still think it's expensive to take some doctors that earn $50,000 a month to Nigeria. I would rather they just pay some doctor in Nigeria and tell them, go and do healthcare. You guys, because that's just a bunch of just I'd rather you make that 50K, 10K, do you understand what I'm saying? But really go there and, talk to find people that have eye problems and, things that affect the elderly. My dad was a walking medical cabinet. I mean, anybody can, he lived to 87 because he had the money and the wherewithal and the exposure to do so. If not, I'm sure my old man had hypertension when he was in his early 40s, and he managed it for 1972 or 73. So there's no way you manage that without having money or when we're young, and my dad every year, Harley Street, every year, But a lot of people don't have access to that. Basics, hypertension, silent killer. The guy that used to take care of my dad died about 7 months ago. High blood pressure, kidney failure. He had no idea he had it. Just lack of exposure. Young guy, 54. Wow. Yeah. He was on dialysis for 4 months. My dad paid for dialysis. My dad said, Mama, Matalimi, how much is kidney surgery for Femi? So I called my sister, like, okay, we have to find 10 million for that, so that Femi can do, but he couldn't find a donor. And so he eventually died. So that's the basic. So basic healthcare services, just helping people, just finding people that kids, prenatal care, the very basic things that vaccination, whatever. I haven't thought about everything, but so those are the areas that we really want to focus on. And I think long term, I'd like to set up at least an emoji. That's something I have in my vision. build a small clinic. That's just an outpatient that people can just overtake. They are small things, just, employ some doctors and all that. So, anything else? So sorry? That's it. All right. Thank you very much.
Remember when you were writing your essays, you said you wanted to go and help him.
So basically, to round up, like I said earlier, so our goal is whatever we raise today, we'll let you know. We'll also let you know exactly, based on what Tola and I are matching with. We'll put all that together and we will plan to do work over the next 6 months to spend the money and spend it as judiciously as possible. And then we would like to report to you on a monthly basis, maybe via WhatsApp group. We're going to call the Friends of the Foundation. That will be made up of everybody that has supported us today. I would advise you on what we're doing, what we've done for that month, and how far your money is going. So, thank you all again for your time, and God bless.
Please give him a round of applause.